Welcome back to another video. This one is going to be touching on the suggestions that you guys have made for AQ3D. Before I get started with this video, I am going to recommend that you guys send this video to the developers, especially people like Cicero or Artix. If everybody who watches this video sends a link to it to Cicero and Artix, they're going to actually watch it if the community is prompting them to. This is going to give a better opportunity for these suggestions to actually get into the game. And I'd like to thank all of you guys who posted suggestions in the AE Federation. Very helpful. A lot of you had done the same suggestions, but that's fine because it shows that you are all thinking on the same page. Now, these suggestions were not put in any particular order. They're just kind of thrown in there. And I didn't take all of the suggestions. I only took a lot of the ones that had been mentioned multiple times, or if they were ones that could definitely be implemented, or ones that I thought were really good. If your suggestion is not in this following video, it's probably because it would have been just too impossible for these things to be done. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. You can turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss any of my uploads. Let's get started. The first suggestion was to have more customization options in the character creation and in the barbershop, being able to change preset or face structures, like your textures could change based on possible presets. Right now, of course, it is only one default look for the male and one default look for the female. If there could be possibly several different preset looks to choose from, would be a cooler idea, as well as having more hair colors and possibly more hair styles. Next is the fishing improvement. Now, several people posted wanting to have better fishing because right now the fishing is very, very boring. I like the fact that you get random fish, but it's way too RNG. The entire thing is RNG. What I think it should be is more of a quick time event. When you throw your pole into the water, a little meter would pop up with this little ticker, and if it hits a certain area, you want to hit a button just as it hits this area, giving you a better chance of getting a fish. This would be a little bit more fun. It's still RNG based somewhat, but it would also involve a little bit of skill. Recently, they did have an inventory and bank update, which is awesome. Now being able to preview in the bank, being able to have your travel forms and your pets on hand at all times, but there should be a sort option. Being able to sort your items in the bank, putting your items where you want them, and as well as in the inventory. This would be an awesome little feature. Now, I don't play on mobile, but this one here would help on people who do play mobile, being able to enlarge the jump button for mobile. Having a larger jump button would probably be better for people who like to maneuver on parkour and things like that. The next three suggestions I'm going to be kind of putting into the same little chunk. The first is the Archer class, Ranger class. Now, this is already something that has been discussed in the past, and the Ranger class will be coming at some point, but there was a lot of people who mentioned the Ranger class because people really, really want this. Well, this will be coming at some point. Another one was the Vampire class and the Lycan class. Now, these two, I can't say would come. That'd be a really cool idea if they did have these classes. Somebody had mentioned that the ultimates could turn them into a bat for vampire and a werewolf for, of course, the other, for a limited time where you'd be able to use the werewolf and the bat version. That would be a pretty cool idea. Not sure how probable this is, but still, neat idea. Another suggestion was having pets with stats, or pets that can help you in battle, dealing damage or giving you a buff, picking up items, things like that. Now, there were mention of pets doing things like this in the future, so this is something that will very likely happen. I'm not sure about the whole stats thing, but there will be combat pets available. Possibly they could buff, and possibly they could carry stuff for you. So I'll have to wait and see on that one. Very good suggestion. Next one is making dragon crystal items not take up bank or inventory space. Now, if you guys play AQ Worlds, you know they have AC tagged items. Now, these are items that you purchase with AC and they don't take up any bank space. In order to free up more inventory room for people who don't have a lot, making DC items not take up inventory space, or at least bank space, would be a good idea. I do have a lot of DC items that would be cool if they didn't actually take up the bank spaces. Not sure exactly if this is something that could be implemented, or I mean it could be implemented, but I'm not sure whether or not this would be. Next one is being able to walk. Now, right now, we can't walk. We basically run, either in travel form or in regular form. You're running. There is no walk feature. Being able to actually walk would be an awesome feature. I saw multiple suggestions about the trade system. People are wanting to be able to trade their items or sell their items to other people and stuff. And this is something that is on the wish list. However, if it does happen, it's going to be a long way away, because this is going to require a total infrastructure behind the economy they have right now. So it's going to be a bit trickier implementing that, but it is always possible. Also, another one that was very, very popular suggestion was a guild system. And of course, I think this is also another awesome feature. Right now, not super practical, but this is definitely something that they will most likely be doing. And I also saw a lot of people mention player houses, and again, this is something that will be coming to the game eventually. This is not so much as a suggestion as it is an upcoming feature. Another suggestion that was dropped a lot was mini maps on the maps. Now, this doesn't seem, because it's a mobile game, that you would really need it, but there are actually a lot of other mobile games out there that have mini maps, so this is something that could happen. The problem is, you don't want to, especially on mobile, you don't want to complicate the screen, but you could have a transparent mini map down in the left corner or up in the top right corner, and it wouldn't have to be very big, with very simple icons showing kind of the layout of the map. Now, this would definitely help in places like Dreadful's Labyrinth, or the dragon one, I forget the name of it now, or Arkengrove Forest, some of the bigger maps where it's a little bit trickier to maneuver. Now, somebody else had actually given even further on this. They said, what about mapping skills, where it is a transparent map on the screen, but it unlocks, similar like it would to Zelda or some of the other games, where you don't actually have access to the entire map on the mini map until you visit that area. So you would literally have to go all the way to the right side of the map to unlock that part to show up on the minimap. They do this also on games like Assassin's Creed, and maybe even unlocking all of the map gives you a title or something like that. Another suggestion was the ability to wear a helmet and a face item at the same time. Now, I'm not sure how this works, because right now there is only just the head item, so they would literally have to split it up into two parts, so you have your head item and your face item. Now, this is not something that's impossible, so possibly this could work. There were also multiple suggestions for making the friends list longer. Another one, and this is something I don't know could ever happen, but was having a travel form that could take multiple players, like a carriage horse travel form. So I'm not really sure if this is something that could be possible. It's kind of a cool idea. Another suggestion, and this is one that actually I have seen for a long time, I've actually made this suggestion multiple times, was to have a leaderboard and a character stats, like where it would show how many monsters you've killed, or how many times you've died, or how much money you have, what your PvP kills or your PvP deaths or wins and losses are. This is something that would be really neat, even if this was something added to the character page. And having a leaderboards for some of these things would be neat, because people could see how many monsters you've killed. You're on the top of the leaderboard for killing the most monsters in the game, or you're on the top for having the most money, or things like this. Another suggestion was having more dungeons with simple puzzles and challenges, not just go into this room and kill these monsters, go to the next room and kill these monsters, go to the next room and kill these monsters. If it's got a little bit more diversity, little maps. Umbral Caves is a perfect dungeon example. That is one of my favorite dungeons because it has the whole poison room, figure out how to get out of the poison room, and all these other little interesting secrets in the cave. It's an amazing dungeon, and I would hope there would be more dungeons like that in the future. To increase the range of ranged classes in PvP back to what it was before they balanced it for PvP. Now this makes sense because when the whole PvP thing came out, they had reduced the amount of range that the pirate and mage and stuff had because of PvP. But they should be two separate things. In the PvP areas, it can be what it is now, keep the range the way it is, but in the PvE areas, when they're not in PvP, have it so that you can actually keep it, at the distance it was before, which was a lot better. Now this also couples with another suggestion, which is to restore the health potions, all the potions, back to what they were before in the cooldown. Because right now the cooldown is ridiculous. There's no way you can, they're basically making, you can literally drink one potion per fight just about. Possibly two, whereas in before you were able to drink it a lot more. Now instead of having it reduced to what it was before, they could at least reduce it from what it is now. Another suggestion was to add a mini map with mini games. Now I'm going to get back to this one in a minute because this is one that I had talked about a while ago that really needs to happen. It'd be end game content basically. Another one, I've seen this a lot, is the ability to change species, going from human to dwarf or ogre or elf, something like this. Now unfortunately something like this would require a ton of work because all of the items are based on the character they have right now, on the human form that they have right now. So you would literally have to change this thing. It would have to adapt to all of these styles, the dwarf being short and stocky. This would be a very difficult thing to do. Not saying it'd be impossible, but this would require a ton of work for something like this to actually come about. However, they could add heads of elves or dwarfs, make it kind of like you're a dwarf or an elf. Selecting and selling and banking multiple items at the same time is another one, and I've seen this multiple times as well. This is also a good idea. When I want to bank something, I literally have to click on each individual thing to bank them. And it would be a whole lot easier if I could just kind of group them all the ones I want to sell, selecting them, and then being able to bank the ones I've selected, and doing the same with the selling or selecting items. So this is something that is a really good idea. I hope this gets implemented. Having a buy back option in shops. This is really good in place of accidental selling. If you accidentally sell something and you go, oh shoot, I didn't mean to sell that. If they had a buyback option in the shops, you'd be able to get back your item. That is a good suggestion. Not sure if this is really needed or not, but somebody had mentioned titles being marked with a rarity so that you would know if the titles are common or uncommon, or if they're rare or legendary. And this kind of makes sense in a way because then you would kind of know which titles were harder to get. Being able to dye your armor. Now this is something I don't really think is possible. The way that it's implemented right now with the whole color scheme and stuff, really don't see this ever happening, but who knows, maybe. PvP modes. Now right now we have 3v3 and 1v1, but a lot of the other suggestions are Battle Royale, which I am really a big fan of, or free-for-all, which is also another cool feature, or Capture the Flag. Now of course Capture the Flag, if you've ever played the PvP in AQ Worlds, there is a Capture the Flag version of that. So that would be something they could actually implement into AQ3D as well as Battle Royale. I mean, it's not going to be a 50 Battle Royale or anything, a 50 player Battle Royale, but you could have a 10 player Battle Royale. Same with the free-for-all. You could have a limited amount, 30 players or whatever, 10 players, 15, whatever is not going to cause too much lag in that area. Now going back to the mini-map with the mini-games idea. Now I had an idea where we could have a community games section. Now, if you guys remember the old Battlon, not the original, but the second one, the one that was destroyed during the birth of this Battlon we have now, that would be the perfect map for a lot of these things. We used to play hide and seek in that map, as well as Infected, as well as Fort Hunters, and other games that we invented on the spot in that location. Now you can add other things. If that map was to be restored, but of course not called Battlon, it could be called Community Zone or something similar. Now this would basically be a place where people can come up with their own ideas. Community run games, and this isn't something that would be affecting anything outside of that zone. So streamers could be hosting hide and seek games there, or Infected games. Now if you guys have never seen hide and seek or Infected or Fort Hunters, I'll put a link in the top right corner. These are mini games that I had helped create. Well, the hide and seek is kind of generic, but the Infected and Fort Hunters was something that I had invented a long time ago, so you can go and check that video out if you want to know more about that. Now this area, this community zone, would be NPC free, so there would be no NPCs in this area. It would just be us, and it would be neat if they actually had platforms on some of the buildings where people could get up on top of maybe the roofs, or even if they could just get up on top of the platforms doing a little bit of parkour. You could use that as part of a race or something, a relay race, or there's all kinds of ideas you could do with a place like that. Even if they had a section in that old map where it was lava, there was a section where you would jump off into lava. You could even play lava dive. Now if you guys have never seen lava dive, I do that on my live streams. We do this lava dive challenge, which basically is just people jumping into the lava and seeing how high of damage you take. Another idea, now this is something that I had as well, this is to add longevity to the game. And basically this is more of a impossible task grind, basically, because if there's not a lot to do in the game and you've done pretty much everything you want to do, or if you've hunted for everything you want to do and there's nothing else to do, if you've ever seen in Darkovia, they have that whole Slayer rank system. Now they also have other ones that are very similar where you're ranking up through your quests, and you turn in the quest and you get a higher rank. I was thinking they could do something similar to this, but instead this would be a multiple zone. Basically you grab a quest from an NPC, and it could be like Monster Slayer or something. You grab the quest from him. The first quest would be kill 100 monsters. Doesn't matter what it is, it would be any monster, and you just go about doing your regular business, or you can actually go and grind these quests if you want. Now these quests would give you minimal gold and XP. The end of it would be 100,000 monsters killed. So each quest would go higher and higher, starting from maybe 100, and then the next one would be 1,000, and then the next one would be 5,000, and potentially unlocking a craft shop upon beating these quests that would give you some items. Now these items would only be available through these craft shops that you would get from doing these grinds. At the end of it, maybe you get a title. Last but not least is the idle pose. Now right now, as you know, when you stand in one direction, your head is slightly tilted to the left. Now there are two poses that they could potentially do. One is facing with their head slightly tilted to the left, or another which is facing straight ahead. Now in most armor sets it doesn't matter. There's no real big deal if you're facing slightly to the left. With armor sets like the Mosh Marauder, it basically makes the Mosh Marauder look like it's not done right, because the neck piece does not match up properly with the headpiece. Whereas if the head was facing straight, this would not be an issue, and I foresee future problems with this as well. Now unfortunately, changing the idle pose is not an easy task, and it's not priority right now obviously, but at some point this is something that I think needs to be addressed, because right now there are certain armor sets that just do not look good simply because of the idle pose. But there you go, that is the extremely long video of all these suggestions. Sorry for making it take so long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you want the devs to see this, like I said earlier in the video, please send them a link to this video so they can actually watch it. So let me know in the comments below what you think of these suggestions, and if you have any suggestions, post them in the comments below as well, because the devs might read through those as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.